Hey, what's up, guys? So today I wanted to just quickly talk about, a lot of you kind of been hitting me up on TikTok, and you've been telling me like, hey man, like how did you start? Like how did you start real estate? Like how were you able to like make money through real estate when you had no money? Like how were you able to basically start from basically nothing? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Rich Lima. I'm 25 years old. And essentially, I got into real estate without knowing anything, without having family members in the industry, without even having friends in there. A little bit about myself: I was a lost kid. I was living in a trailer. I was working construction and I was fucking lost. Like, I only spent 1 year in college and then I ended up dropping out. I actually tried to do music, believe it or not. I'll see if I could drop it in there, but I ended up dropping out, and I was just doing stupid shit for like 2 3 years. I was lost. I was lost, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, right? And now, fast forward a couple years, I've been able to own over $1 million worth of real estate. Just last month, I was able to make over $100,000 through real estate alone. The reason I'm showing this is because I kind of just want to show proof of concept. Obviously, I don't like showboating or whatever. But, obviously people want to know, like, okay, like, who the hell is this kid talking on YouTube? This video is probably going to be seen by everybody on TikTok. So you guys already know kind of my backstory. A lot of you hit me up and talk about, like, oh, like, how can I get started in wholesaling? But what I always tell everybody is that we're not in 2021 anymore, right? We're not in 2022. The thing about before is when basically the bug happened, right? It was so easy. And that's literally, I started when when it all started. And I had no idea, no conception of how to even begin. And now looking back to it, it was probably the best time. It really was the best time to start because you could basically make offers, like random offers, and it was just a numbers game. You didn't have to be good at sales. You didn't have to have a system in place. You didn't need automations. There was no AI. All you had to do was just hop on a phone, call like a list that you would get from a third-party site, like PropStream that you see right there, and you would literally get it like offers accepted. Like out of like 30 offers, every 30 offers, you would get like one good, decent deal. And that's what I basically did for like the first year that the first year when I started, I didn't make anything. But going into the second year, I ended up shifting markets. The whole thing started, and it was really the best time. And looking back to it now, it was the best time to buy real estate as well. And so what I'm going to basically talk about is the real estate engineering blueprint, right? The modern way, how to do it now, right? What's the best way now to build wealth in real estate without needing huge capital or licenses? Because I'm not here, like this is only for people who are trying to start or already started and maybe have a couple deals but are trying to be consistent. If you're doing like $1 million a month, right? This video probably isn't going to apply to you. But if you're just starting off, right? If you're looking into, let's say, wholesaling, or if you're looking into maybe doing fix and flips, this is a great place to start. Like I'm going to be talking about, what I would tell myself if I were to start again. Like, what would I tell my 18-year-old self who was living literally in a trailer park? And basically, the way you want to look at it now is we're basically in a whole different era. It's not 2021 where you just make offers and that's it. Now you really, like what I tell everybody is you have to become like a real estate engineer. Like you need to have a lot of tools in your tool belt and you need to be able to understand the whole process from start to finish or work with people who understand the whole process from start to finish. So a lot of people like to use the term like wholesaling. That's what they want to get into. So it's not like what everyone thinks. You find a motivated seller, you get the property under contract at a discount, you assign the contract to a cash buyer, and then you make profit on the difference. That's essentially like how the whole process basically works in a nutshell when you're trying to like assign it to buyers. But no one ever talks about like the skill set that you really need. Nowadays, like you have to understand that in every market, it's very competitive now because you're dealing with people who have been in the game for a couple of years. So if you're trying to start, I wouldn't even do bandit signs anymore. Like I wouldn't waste so much money in direct mail. I wouldn't waste so much money in Facebook ads or PPC. What actually gets you paid is knowing how to talk to people. As simple as it sounds, but it actually works, right? Talking to sellers and building trust. Already having automations and systems in place from day one. You don't want to go in cold turkey, right? You don't want to go in like me, who didn't know what to do and was just putting signs with a number, with a Google Voice number, and just waiting every day just to get a call back. You don't want to do that. Understanding your market or the market that you're virtually investing in, knowing how to accurately comp, knowing how to price properties, knowing which areas are good and then which areas are bad, and obviously knowing how to be a lead engineer, knowing how to structure deals. Is it a flip? Is it a wholesale novation, the subject to? Are you trying to possibly maybe joint venture it with another company or joint venture with a real estate agent? And it comes down, what I realized is networking. Bro, like I'm not here trying to be, I'm not here to tell you like I'm making $1 million a month. Just like 2 years ago, I was struggling. Like literally last year, I wasn't even putting the time as I should have. And it was affecting my business. And I was just focusing solely on one asset, on one way to basically do deals. And if it wasn't for me shifting my mindset and learning the other attributions that came with real estate, knowing how to do novations, knowing how to do subject to, knowing how to do fix and flip, knowing that your network really matters, like knowing how to make money through lead generation, generating leads for real estate agents, I would have been gone, bro. I really would have been gone. You have to learn how to skin the cat for every deal. And if you don't know how to do that, you're not going to, you won't find success as fast. But if you're able to understand this, you're going to be able to win automatically. And one thing I would always tell myself, if I were to start again, I don't want you to worry so much about AI or inbound leads or fancy tools. When you're starting off, what actually matters is having a sales skills, learning the power of sales, learning the power of tonality, learning the power of framing your questions and digging deeper into the motivation of people, and understanding that it's not so much obviously you have to pick up the phone and get in the reps, and you're gonna suck in the beginning, and it's totally fine, trust me. But just realize that every call, you're always going to improve. With every bad or good call, you're always going to learn certain cues or certain things that you could have done better, certain ways you could have expressed yourself over the phone. Because then you come to realize that it's not always just logical, but it's also an emotional connection that you have with sellers. And when you're deep enough in the game, and I'm not even that deep in the game, but I've done enough deals, I've done over 50 deals to know that a lot of people sell by feeling rather than logic. And when you're able to get the feeling out of them, the motivation out of them, you're able to do way more deals, or not even do crazy amount of deals, but get bigger spreads. And you're able to engineer the right exit where you can either wholesale, flip it, novate, JV, etc. And obviously, I want to get into the nitty gritty, because I know you guys really want to get into systems and everything like that. But one thing I would tell you guys is really, really hound in on sales. If I could go back, I would really, really tell myself, Rich, double down on sales. It took me 3-4 years to understand that. It took me so damn long, and I wish I understood it. I literally started understanding it this year. This year is when I really started understanding I didn't really need a script. I just needed to understand more of a frame, right? Understand maybe the concept. You don't need a script. And the only way you realize that is by making thousands of calls. And especially nowadays, just based on research, 1 in 3 Americans trust others, right? Trust alone has collapsed over the last few decades, and most people assume strangers don't have good intentions. And what it basically means for us is that every time we're calling or texting, or even inbound, bro, people assume you're a scammer. They don't trust you. So it's not so much about sales being good in the sense that it's going to get you deals, but what it allowed me to do is it allowed me to survive. If I sucked at sales, I wouldn't have survived at all. I don't think I would be able to make as much money as I did to buy my rental properties, to be able to help my family buy their first home. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because I wish someone told me this before. And I had to learn this the hard way, making a bunch of mistakes, losing a bunch of money. I could have just gone back, and if I had done it all, this is the one thing I would have done, focus on sales. because you have to understand, right? It's not about pressuring anymore. It's about making connections, learning how to listen rather than pitching. It's built by asking better questions, speaking clearly and confidently, and following up like a pro. And you're going to realize soon enough, follow-up is key. In this business, follow-up is probably the reason you're always going to get deals. And then just to talk a little bit more about this, sales is the heart of making deals, right? Leads and numbers matter, but deals are won through communication. SMS or, PPC, PPL, or even hiring cold callers, you're eventually going to get on the phone with these people. And if you don't know how to talk to them, if you don't know how to build trust, if you don't know how to make them comfortable in the idea of selling their home to you, then you're obviously going to hurt yourself and you're never going to really get a deal. Or even if you get a deal, it's going to be like a hard one to complete, because you have to understand the art of sales, right? Sellers want to feel understood and confident that you can deliver a solution. And without sales, even the best marketing and data is useless. Conversations won't turn into contracts. And sales is what transforms opportunity into signed agreements, and signed agreements into cash. So, and just going back, man, I was lost. I was a lost kid. I was literally like 19, 20. I was still playing video games, right? And I was doing construction, and I was living in a fucking trailer, bro. And I'm not afraid to show this because, literally it's just my life. Everyone starts differently, but I just want to show people that, like, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm literally nobody. Like, I'm nobody, right? I mean, obviously I'm somebody, like I'm human, but you know what I mean. I didn't have the proper education. I didn't go to no private school. I didn't have people around me who were doctors or realtors or investors or, rich people. Like most of the people that I know growing up, because I'm Mexican, so I grew up with immigrant parents. My parents both came from literally the dirt. Like my mom came from a rancho. My pops, he came from the outskirts of his own town. Obviously we didn't have money at all. And with the little knowledge that I had and with all the determination that I had, I was able, to build a portfolio worth over $1 million. And just last month, I was able to finally hit over 6 figures in 1 month, God willingly. So it's not, anyone can do it. You just have to understand the concept. You have to understand the concept and the reality of things. Because when I first started, everyone always assumed, I always assumed you would get a deal. Like, oh yeah, I can get a deal in like 30, 40 days. But it's not like that, man. Like, you have to build, like with anything, with drop shipping, with agencies, SMMA. It takes time. You have to build not just a skill set, but the frameworks and the systems. And if you're not able to commit to this, then you're never going to get a deal. Like for me, it took me a whole last year it took me like 1.5 years to get a deal. And you have to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, then it's fine. But you have to understand that if you're just starting off, you may not see a deal in a year, and for me, it was hard because I was very stubborn. I didn't really ask for help. I didn't look for help. Back then, people weren't dropping game like you see now, like on YouTube. Like the whole Alex Hormozy effect where people just want to drop gems. If you want to get a deal in the next 90 days, this is the best way. For me, personally, from my experience, I would say this is the best way to do it. Okay, a lot of people talk about PPL. A lot of people talk about calling for sale by owners, pay-per-click, direct mail, driving for dollars, Facebook. You got the daisy chaining and the bandit signs. If you're just trying to start and be new, you don't really need much, honestly. All you really need is a dialer, a strong niche list, and a CRM, okay? A dialer, you can just go get something like Smartphone or Mojo Dialer or Batch Dialer. And then with the dialer, you just want to call people. You want to call a small, very powerful list. If you're starting off, focus on the main list. I would say focus on those because obviously you don't have a lot of time or you don't have a team who's going to be calling. So you really want to use your time effectively and efficiently. And then the one thing I would say, because this is what I used, I was using Google Sheets. When I first started, I was using Google Sheets for 6 months. I would say get a powerful CRM. There's so many good CRMs out there. I can't really pitch the other, there's so many. I would just say just find a CRM that works for you and use that. Get a dialer, a strong list, and a CRM. When you're getting a list, right? you want to make sure you're getting like a powerful list. And like I mentioned before, like niche data matters because you want to make sure you're not just getting anything. Like you don't want to get like big lists. Like if I go to PropStream and I put like, let's say I put like Kansas City, right? If I put Kansas City, there's so like you've got 225,000 properties, bro. Like 225,000. When you're first starting off, you know, you really have to be considerate with your budget and what you want to do. And also like PropStream offers free skip tracing, but I think you have to pay like 120 a month. You know, if you feel like you want to use like another skip tracing service to skip trace, you know, I would consider batch skip tracing. And when you're targeting like homeowners that are very interested in selling, like you have to be particular with the list that you're pulling. For me, what I would do is I would be very specific. Like I would filter it down as much as you can. Because let's say you're targeting Kansas City, right? You have 225,000 properties. That's way too much. Like if you were to start off, I would literally like stick with like these like tax delinquents or maybe pre-probate. The thing about those lists is that they've been hit before. Trust me, because there's a lot of people that use PropStream, so they're pulling these lists every day. But the one advantage that you have is that you're just focusing on those leads, though. That's the thing. So you're going to get a deal because a lot of companies are pulling all this list and they're just putting it on a dialer and they probably only hit it once or twice. But you, on the other hand, you're probably going to hit this 10, 15 times. A lot of people don't understand that, you know, you can't hit it just once or twice because people don't answer on the first or second call. How many times do you get a call on your phone and you don't answer it, right? Or you get a text and you don't send anything back. So it takes maybe a couple of touch points, like up to 10 to 15 touch points to finally get an answer from somebody. So that's your advantage when you're new because you can focus on these higher niche lists and you can basically hound on them. But the main question is like, how do you find them? Like, how do you even filter it? You know, if you're interested, I mean, I'll literally just put it down here in the description below, and I'll even has a Loom video too. But you can literally go down, like you could literally just filter it for single families, year built. You could do MLS, you know, you don't want to hit anybody on the MLS. You know, pre-foreclosures if you wanted to, ownership. You know, you want to do minimum 5 years. You don't want to hit up people that already bought a house. You can even get more like particular and do out of state. And the more you do so, it's like now you have 0. You see what it's doing? So now it's like literally filtering out because it's only 212. What I would suggest is 212 is 212. I would just get the whole thing. But if you were doing like tax delinquent, instead of 21,000, now you got 2,000 properties. And these 2,000 properties are probably properties that are hot. So you want to like export these lists, and I call it a SM list because they're very filtered. You want to do tax delinquents, right? Tired landlords, instead of 46,000, you got 3,800. They're already filtered out, right? You filter them out. So then you're just targeting like the top, the creme de la creme. And you know, or if you're doing vacant land, I see a lot of people buying and selling vacant land. You know, when you're able to be more specific with these type of filters, you're able to hit more motivated leads. So that's it for the niche list. You know, once you have your list, you want to put it in a strong dialer. One thing I would tell myself is literally like, if I could go back, I would tell myself like, bro, you have to be calling every single day. Because if you don't call every single day, first, you're never going to learn how to talk to people. And second, you're never going to get a deal. Like, that's the thing about real estate. And I got to be real with everybody, you know, because I wish I knew this. Like, if you're not willing to make like $200, $250 a day, like you're not going to get like a good pipeline. You're not going to get good lead flow. You have to be committed enough to make those calls. And trust me, it may suck in the beginning because I was in your position too. Like it may suck in the beginning, bro. I know how it is, but it's gonna suck in the beginning, but it's the only way to get better. Like it's the only way to get better. And as you continue making calls, like it's not only going to help you just in real estate, but it's gonna help you in life. You're going to understand the power of communication. You're going to understand the power of communicating with people. And it literally is like Pandora's box that opens up. You're going to be able to start speaking in front of a camera. You're going to be able to start speaking in front of a crowd. You're going to be able to start networking with higher level people. The amount of people that I've connected with just because of cold calling, right? You don't see those things, but it's like momentum that piles up. the more you call, the more you are able to express yourself, the more you're able to be more articulate, the more you're able to be more confident with yourself and with your voice and with your tone. And when you become that person who doesn't give up, then you become that person who just does it because he knows he has to get that done. And so what if I could go back, man, I would tell myself, like, bro, like, you gotta be committed to doing these 250 calls. And that's why you need a dialer, because you can't just do it on the phone. You need a dialer to be calling like people. Because your goal, if you're trying to get like a deal, let's say in the next 90 days, right? If I was trying to get a deal in the next 90 days, your goal is to call Monday to Sunday, $200 to $250 a day, and just 3 to 5 good conversations, right? 3 to 5 good conversations. You just need, I would even say like as low as 2 to 3 good conversations. If you can get 2 to 3 good conversations every day, you're set. You probably could get a deal within 30 to 45 days. If you commit to yourself to this alone, Monday to Sunday, $200 to $250 a day, and 3 to 5 good conversations. And what's considered a good conversation? Getting the condition, getting the timeline, getting the price, and getting motivation. The bottom line is you have to be able to really perfect these 4. And you see, like, a lot of people, like a lot of the gurus, they talk about the 4 pillars. Like, a lot of people talk about how you shouldn't be talking about the condition at all. You should be just focusing on motivation. And I totally agree with that. I feel like when you're calling, your main sole focus is just motivation. But when you get motivation, obviously you're going to get price. And then obviously you're going to figure out the timeline. And then at the end of the call, you don't really have to go specific. Like, you don't have to waste another 10, 15 minutes just talking about the condition of the property. You can just basically I'd like to call them shotgun questions, just like what really matters. So you can just tell them, oh, rate me the condition of the property. Like, how would you rate the condition of the property from 1 to 10? Right? Like, how many bedrooms and bathrooms are there? What property type is it? Are there tenants involved? And those main questions that you want to ask. So then you're better able to, give an offer on the second call. When you're making these calls, your whole intent is to make sure you're getting 3 to 5 good conversations. And maybe on another video, I can talk more about like how to be better on the phone. But when you're on the phone, you want to get like just these 4 simple things. If you're able to get these 4 simple things from homeowners, you're going to get a deal. Like, there's like the longer you do it, you're going to be able to get a deal. So I would just say condition, timeline, price, and motivation, right? For motivation, why are they selling, right? You want to figure out what is their pain point, because you want to use that and remind them, right? You want to remind them why they even are on the phone with you. Why am I having this guy continue talking to me? Because I'm motivated, right? What is it that is interested in making you sell? Like, were you interested before I even called? Right? Because motivation is the engine, and without it, there's no deal. You want to remember that. If there's no motivation, there's a high likelihood that there's no deal. And then the reason why you want to hound on price too is because when you're able to get the price out of them, then you're able to figure out, okay, could this work? But on top of that, you can also, getting the price from them on the beginning, on the first call, you're able to also kind of figure out if they're flexible with it. Getting the seller to tell you the price first is key. You never want to give the price to the seller first. Whoever gives the price first, loses. That's like what they all say. But I would say price is key. Timeline, obviously you want to make sure they can sell within the next 30, 60, 90 days, or even if it's long term, but it gives you a good gist of okay, they're not ready now, but they're going to be ready in 6 months. So you're able to also detect who's higher quality and who's lower quality, right? Who's ready to go, and then who is okay, maybe I'll just put them on a follow-up trip. And then obviously condition. The reason you do condition is because you're going to analyze the deals. You have to understand how to analyze deals. But in order to analyze deals, you're going to need to know the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the property types. One thing to add on, it's not what you ask, but how you ask it. So it goes back to sales, right? It's about sales. Even though we're not selling to people, right? I'm not going to be selling you. I'm not selling you a product or anything, but I am selling you the idea of you working with me. That's the difference between, real estate and every other industry, is because we're not really selling a product or a service. We're mostly kind of selling an idea. Because if you think about it, we're probably the only industry where we're trying to buy a house. We're not trying to make them buy from us. We're trying to, well, like I'm trying to buy your house. But obviously, I mean, you still need to have sales skills because it's not so simple. It seems practical, but the execution is not as simple as it seems. Because you have to understand that it's not what you ask, but how you ask it. The power isn't really so the question of like, are you interested in selling, but it's in the delivery, the tone, the way you frame it. So that's how you're able to be successful. And that's how I was able to be successful. That's how I was able to get properties that were worth like 500, 550, 600 and get them at $300,000 price points. It's powerful, like understanding that your words are power to the point where you can have someone sell you their house at such a discount. And it sounds kind of messed up, and all these gurus can tell you like, oh, like, you know, it's about helping people. It's about helping people. You're gonna help people regardless because you're in a very sticky situation. But at the same time, just being fully transparent and ultimately realistic, like you're also there to make money. Because if you weren't making money, then why would you do it, right? It's not a nonprofit. This is a business. And so you have to understand you have to be skilled at talking to people. And if you're not skilled at talking to people, you know, you're not going to be making money, you're not going to be doing deals. You know, what do you do? So once you have your 3 to 5 good conversations every day, you want to make sure you're sending them to the CRM. Right? Every good lead is sent to a CRM. You don't want to just send cold leads. You want to send good leads. And you want to find a CRM that is able to manage, like is able to be organized, where you're able to focus on top priority leads. And then you can kind of let the warm ones just add like SMS strips or, you know, use AI dialers. You can, or put it in your own dialer, create tasks or drips. And then for cold, just drip automations, long short-term drips. That's why we use a CRM, because you don't really want to focus on the warm and cold as much. And that's one thing I realized like this year, you don't want to focus on the warm and cold so much. Obviously they're good and you don't want to like delete them or anything, but you want to keep them, but you want to have a system automated where, and that's the powerful thing about AI, because a lot of CRMs or even like like I use a CRM, I would suggest like go high level or very simply, right? Or you can build in AI into like Podio and other, or LeftMain. Like, oh, a lot of CRMs are implementing AI. You want to use a CRM that has AI because you're able to do drip automations. You're able to do AI automations where they're following up for you. You don't want to spend so much time on leads that aren't motivated. And that's one thing that I'm even doing right now. I'm building out an AI SMS bot for myself to follow up with leads that just ghosted me, that told me not interested. Like all those leads, I'm not going to focus on them anymore. And they're going to be continually touched from AI alone. But I'm not focusing on them. I'm just going to focus on top priority deals, right? Leads that are ready to go, active leads. So what you want to do is you want to have 3 to 5 good conversations daily, 7 days a week. That's 35 solid conversations. And from 35 conversations, you should expect about 15 offers, because typically it's like a 40% drop off. So from 35 conversations, not every conversation is going to be like gold, right? Not every conversation is going to be like, oh, I'm ready to sell, right? Out of 35 conversations, you're probably going to get back in touch with maybe 20 of them, maybe. I would say 15 to 20, and you're probably going to get 15 offers made. And out of the 15 offers, not all of them are going to accept it neither, but you're going to get 2 to 3 negotiable deals though. You're going to get 2 to 3 leads that are very negotiable. Every week, you're going to have 2 to 3 leads that are like, okay, you know what, something can happen. And that's why I say follow-up is king, because follow-up, most of the time, you're not going to get a deal off the bat, like off the rip. You're going to have to follow up. But if you're able to aim to 3 to 5 quality conversations every day, the momentum will stack and the deals will follow. Because if you're able to do this every single day, after 90 days, bro, after 90 days is gold, man. You're probably going to get 2 to 3 deals, right? And all of you know, like every deal could be worth like 15. It really depends on what type of deal you get. Because I've had deals that were like 15,000 and I've had deals that were like 80,000. You really want to understand that in this business, follow-up is king. Follow up, and the momentum. You're just building momentum. It's like when you're growing plants. You gotta water it every single day, and eventually it's gonna grow big enough where you're finally gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, damn, like I did that, right? Like holy shit, like I can't believe we did that. So that's one thing I would say. Understand that it's all about momentum. It's all about continuously hitting the leads time and time again. I can't tell you how many deals It's like some deals, it took me 3, 4, 5 months. I've had deals where it took me 2 years. And maybe I can talk more about, I'll do a case study about that. It took me 2 years of following up to finally get that deal. So it's like its own momentum. And that's what you want to get. It goes back to getting a good CRM, because if you're in it for the long term, if you build enough momentum and lead flow, you're not going to lose out on anything. You're never going to lose out, because all the drip campaigns, the AI that's built into it, the task and reminders, notifications, and lead automations, they have like mobile apps. Like, you're never gonna lose a deal. I can even talk a little bit more about this. This is like RE Simply. They have AI built into it. They have like an open slot where when a lead is open, I'll tell you like, hey, you got to get on top of that. You're able to organize your leads better. And this is also Go High Level, where they have AI basically following up with leads that I don't even talk to. Like, I'm literally using AI to follow up with leads that ghosted me, leads that told me not interested, and they're rebooking appointments. It probably took them months of constant following up, but by the time they responded, hey, this person's interested. So, and then the cool thing is, like, nowadays, literally, they'll notify you. Like, once they book an appointment, they'll go on your calendar, and all you got to do is just call them and get that deal out, man. Get that offer out. This is basically just a short video of what I would do if I were to start again. Like I said, when I first started, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing, but it took a lot of time for me to understand how to really get deals, how to build a system, how to focus on KPIs and focus on my goals, and managing a team. Like, this is something I would tell myself if I was younger, if I was doing it all over again. Because when I first started, I didn't have nobody to really go to. I had to look for it myself. And if one thing I forgot to add about this video is that look for local companies or real estate groups that are already doing deals in your area. I would say you can learn so much from working with somebody, not just working with anybody, but I would say finding the top dog in your market and applying for a position. Because when you're able to work with bigger companies, you're able to basically essentially steal their systems. You're able to steal the way they do deals. And you can learn so much more. Don't be like me, man. I did all this, I had to learn from myself. I didn't work for nobody. I literally had to do this all by myself. And I'm still learning. And now I'm networking with more people and trying to figure out better ways to systematize, to get more deals. Because eventually, once you start making 6 figures, you want to start making 6 figures a month, not in a year. So there's levels to this. And there's people doing $1 million months in profit. So it's there's always there's always more levels to it. But if I were to start again, I would just focus on those 3 things: a strong dialer, of very niche lists, and a solid CRM. And understanding that it's not just wholesaling anymore. It's good to connect with people, networking with a lot of people, and networking with people that are doing deals. Because nowadays, it's people aren't lowballing as much. People are trying to innovate it. People are getting their licenses and they're listing the deals. And most people like me, I'm trying to do more fix and flips. I'm trying to do more fix and flips because I'm realizing that if you're able to do fix and flips, if you're able to really systematize it, where you can do all these things, you can make so much money when you have more tools in your tool belt. When you can wholesale, when you can innovate, when you can keep it as a rental, when you can fix and flip it. But when you don't have that, it's very hard. It's very hard and very difficult. Hopefully this helps somebody. I'll try to be making more videos to keep it real and raw, things I wish I knew. This is just something I wish I knew. I had to go through 3-4 years of stress, man. You can follow me on TikTok. I post daily on TikTok for right now. Or you can follow my Instagram as well. So thank you guys and appreciate it.